NDIA have done and what are the APIs that we are going to be talking about. I'll introduce you to who Care Access are and what we can do, and what does this mean to you as either an NDIS provider or a plan manager. I know we also have some software vendors that work in the sector also joining us, so we'll spend a bit of time talking about software applications that are already existing in the market. As I said, there'll be a dedicated question and answer session. We'll then look at the roadmap, what the NDIA want to achieve in the future, and what are the next steps for you to engage more with us as a result. So meeting the team. So hi again, my name is Bill. I'm responsible for business relationships and strategic partnerships at Care Access, and I'll be the host today. I'd also like to introduce Shannon. So Shannon is our operations manager. Shannon, would you like to say hello?
Hi everyone, how are you going?
Thank you, thank you. We're also supported in the background by Shashini. So she's our digital marketing executive, and she'll keep the presentation running smoothly in the background, I'm sure. Thanks for that, Shashini. Also joining us is Andrew Henderson, our director, and he's going to give us some great insight into where Care Access has come from and what it is that we're actually achieving. Andrew, do you want to say hello?
Morning, everyone.
Thank you. So let's get started. Some of you may remember this a long time ago now, but the NDIS was introduced back in 2013, first piloted then, and rolling out across the rest of Australia in 2016 to 2019. I think the questions being asked is are we there yet? And I'm sure you're agreeing that probably the answer to that is no. But what we are here to talk about today is what the NDIA have done to hopefully make things a bit better and smooth, a bit more, help things flow a bit more smoothly. So the NDIS, they published some APIs. The intention is to make life easier for NDIS providers and also software developers that are working with NDIS providers. As it says here, the idea is around automating transactions providers would normally complete in the My Place portal. So the intention there is to automate transactions, ease the administration burden, and just make life easier for those working in the NDIS. But what are APIs? Shannon, I'm going to ask you to come in here and just talk a little bit about what APIs are and the advantages that they can bring to us working in this field.
No worries at all. Thanks, Bill. So APIs are application programming interfaces. And essentially what we're doing is we're allowing two applications to communicate with each other. So those applications in particular will be your customer relationship management software, your plan management software, connected via the Care Access platform through to the NDIA via their APIs, therefore giving you the ability to transfer information directly from your software to the NDIA and receive responses from the NDIA back to your software without having to implement a new software system or anything like that. We actually integrate the APIs into your instance.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shannon. And as you can see on the slide here, essentially, to summarize what an API is, it allows two applications to communicate, and we're using these every day in our lives when accessing information or sending messages from our mobile phones. So connecting two systems together, passing of data, passing of information, it sounds pretty straightforward. I'm going to ask Andrew Henderson to come in now and just give us a little bit about where Care Access came from and really the work involved it's taken to get to the stage that we're at. Andrew, what do we think is the difference that Care Access are bringing? I mean, are these APIs really a simple transaction for software vendors or the providers themselves to work with?
Yeah, good question, Bill. So Look, the business came from basically the need in industry from our perspective for, obviously there's funding challenges, people are receiving rejections when they're making claims. There's been a number of organisations in the disability sector that aren't in a position to spend lots of money on coding and IT resources. So Care Access was really born from the point of view of creating a bureau type approach to allowing you not to have to buy any more software, not have to engage any further third-party vendors. We basically come in, look at your existing systems, we connect to it through our platform and have that automatically speaking to the APIs of NDIS. So within that, there's a whole lot of technical requirements that the NDIS requested. Each participant has their own security tokens that needs to be managed. Each of them have their own different types of applications and workflow that needs to be managed. But we want to sort of normalize people's data before it hits NDIA to reduce the opportunity for rejections and therefore obviously get cash flow moving for you. What we've also found across the industry is that there's a number of organisations that aren't really positioned from a capability perspective to drive continual improvement as it relates to NDIA. So their APIs are changing on a fairly regular basis. If you embark on a build process to go and do this from scratch, there's a couple of things that they're going to request. The first one is that you're going to need to obviously get the tokenism part from a security perspective addressed. And the second part is, as APIs are changing, it effectively means you have to start from scratch each time. So what Care Access is aiming to do is to keep them current, to work with NDIS to ensure that as APIs are changing, we're ahead of that curve, so it's seamless to our customer base. From a security perspective, we've done a lot of work with cybersecurity, the Digital Partnerships Office out of Canberra, and pleasing to let everyone know that back in December of 2019, we were the first cab off the rank to be approved to be able to act as that bureau. So when you think about the NDIS APIs, of which there are 27, including some development APIs, we're able to go into customers now with government approval as certified to enable to, regardless of what applications you're using inside, to connect those together. Now, we've developed 3 packages to facilitate that. One of those packages is really talking to your existing applications. You press a button on whatever application you're using internally, have it hit APIs at NDIS and come back and settle within your application. For those that don't have sophisticated software and aren't looking to embark down that path, we also have a second package that allows us to basically give you a file format to populate. So at the end of each day, we can go out, we can reach that file from a shared drive somewhere, pick that up, process it and put it back for you. So the whole notion of swivel chair, data re-entry, making a booking, checking a plan, anything like that, we're trying to automate that process to gain efficiency and again, reduce that rejections bucket. From a innovation perspective, you know, we've really been fortunate in the sense that the stack of different technologies we're using to facilitate this bureau effectively means that we've gone through detailed IRAP certification and each of those have individually been signed off. We've addressed data sovereignty as well as security in what we're doing here. So we see the vision as very much around enabling existing providers to not have to spend any more money to enable their software to access the NDIS. Thanks, Bill.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andrew. And as I mentioned earlier, if you've got any questions in relation to that, please put that in the questions section. We will have a dedicated few minutes coming up to answer some of your questions live. So just to highlight our vision, we're here to connect providers and the NDIS practitioners to those APIs in a quick and efficient manner. And just highlighted there is the key is reducing administration burden, reducing the double entry, reducing the swivel chair aspect that Andrew mentioned. Thanks again, Andrew. So moving on to what the innovation looks like. Shannon alluded to this a little bit earlier. On the right-hand side, we see a bubble where we can see any sort of generic customer client management software. We sit in the cloud in the middle between your solution and the NDIS themselves. So we can normalize your data, we can verify against the APIs and repopulate your system. And we'll have a little look at that now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch into demonstration mode we're going to have a quick look at how simple this process can be made to access sort of the live and real data from the NDIA. We are going to be using the NDIA test suite, so we'll have a look at that now. I'll just switch over to another screen. And what you will be seeing now is a dummy client management system. It's just produced on a Salesforce background, which is one of the solutions we've worked with. And I'm going to go through a basic demonstration of adding a new participant so that we can then see what their NDIS details are in real time. So first of all, I will create a new contact. Now, again, we're connected to the actual NDIA test suite. So I'm using the same dummy person all the time. So again, with any client management system, when you take on a new participant, you'll get their name, their date of birth, and their NDIS number. We'll save that information. And if I go into accounts, so we have Meredith. We're going to create an account for Meredith. Meredith is an NDIS participant. Again, input the NDIS number. Now that I save this information, the APIs are fired off and we'll get the information back about Meredith's plan. So we can see here, we've now got an account for Meredith. And in NDIS plans, it's created a new record and immediately it's returned Meredith's NDIS plan ID. So that's the current plan, the current start date and end date. The key here, and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit more detail, is that as soon as you know you're using a verified record, a verified plan, all the interactions that then you complete in your solution are using the correct data. It's not an out-of-date plan with out-of-date dates. So as I say, a very quick demonstration there, but it shows the value and the speed that it can make your day much easier when accessing that information through the APIs.
Just jumping in there too, Bill, that's just one API. You'll notice the speed of that. What's actually happening in the background, and in this instance, we're using Salesforce as an example, but what's happening in the background is it's firing off an outbound message out of Salesforce, and our applications are picking that up, hitting the NDIS API, verifying the information required, bringing that back in and putting it into your application. So you can see on that basis, regardless of the applications you're using, the sort of speed we can get in getting that type of thing done for you. I know people are challenged around the fact that, you know, people are participants are engaging in on services in some instances where plans have expired or the services aren't eligible. We've got some catch-alls there to be able to make sure that doesn't occur for you when we're going through the process.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, so let's have a look at what this means for you. I mean, in particular, if you are a software vendor and you are looking to connect your application to the NDIA APIs, working with ourselves means a much better and faster outcome for your customers and, of course, the communities they serve. The cost of developing the connections, that's all being done by ourselves and maintaining that. As we've said before, this is our core business, is to manage and maintain those connections. There's no interruption to any current development roadmap. So if you're developing new features in your applications, you keep doing that. This is almost like a plug and play scenario so that your customers can get the benefit of that straight away. As I mentioned, we're maintaining the APIs. We're integrating the security token management, so that's automatic. It is a fully monitored service, so we have the auditability that you need. And of course, as a software vendor, it encourages engagement from other providers that are out there that may be paper-based or using manual processes. If you're an NDIS provider or plan manager, again, why wait? You don't need new software. Shannon mentioned this earlier. We will connect your existing platform to the NDIA APIs. And essentially, as we saw there, a very quick demonstration of retrieving the plan and the start and end dates. It means increase of speed of time to your payment. Less resources required for you to actually do the processing. A huge reduction in the number of exceptions that you have to manage, which means more time for new and existing client engagement, more participants. There is a predictable cost, which is in relation to the number of NDIS participants you manage. And again, it's a fully monitored service that has audits that you can access anytime. Speaking of the outcomes, so some of the pilot sites we've worked with, something which may have taken 15 minutes previously is now done in 15 seconds. And this particular organization reduced their number of outstanding exceptions from 3,000 to almost 0. So this has provided them with the value of one full-time member of staff without having to resource that. Ultimately, Care Access, we're trying to solve the problem at what I refer to as the thin end of the wedge. So when we think about the amount of time with accessing the information and looking up and retrieving plan details and such like, this is something that will take 3 to 4, 5 to 6 minutes for every participant you're working with. As that time grows, when you do service bookings, it's maybe another 20 minutes of your time to process that across multiple systems. And then last but not least, when you're talking about exception management, this is something that can take a couple of hours of your time or your team's time, and without realizing, you've spent $50 and more in your time and resources for something that actually Care Access can resolve, as I mentioned, at the very thin end of the wedge. Let's stop there then for a second and look at some of the questions we've got so far. Shannon, we've got you monitoring the questions that are coming in. Is there anything that's been asked that you can answer for us right now?
Certainly is. There's lots of questions coming in. Lots of people are very interested in what we do and how the process is working. Just responding to Sam at the moment, are you a standalone PM software or just providing API? So the answer to that, Sam, is we don't provide PM software in itself. What we do is we connect and integrate the APIs into your existing system so you don't have to buy new software. We also, as Andrew explained, have multiple levels of integration. So if you're using a particular process or workflow that is currently you're comfortable with, we can integrate with that workflow to deliver API access. Hopefully, Sam, that's answered your question. Here we go. Here's one from Lawrence. When there's a plan rollover, will the new dates automatically update, or is there a prompt to say new plan dates? Great question. Recently, the NDIA has just upgraded one of the APIs to provide a notification when new plan dates or the actual plan itself changes. So that can be integrated into your instance and automatically be updated and alert you to any plan changes. I think we're about up to date, Bill. So I'll leave you to go back to that. If anyone else has got anything they want to add, post them up. Here we go.
Fantastic. Thank you, Shannon. Okay, so as I mentioned, keep the questions coming in. We're happy to answer them. We'll also put some contact information up at the end. So if you think of something afterwards, please feel free to ask away and just get in contact. So the road ahead, the NDIA has a roadmap to develop the APIs further. And interestingly, as Shannon just mentioned, new in the last month, plan and service booking updates. So we can now get notifications if plan plans and service bookings are updated with new dates. So again, instead of having to go back and forward and check to see if they've been updated, or indeed managing exceptions as a result of something being updated, that's something that we can actually now make you aware of. On the roadmap for August this year is the new API around plan budget. We don't have all of the details around this yet, but essentially it's something we've been asked about quite a lot in relation to, can we retrieve the participants' plan budget or the type of plan, again, which will make life easier for you. So that is coming. We will get more details about that at our next DCI meeting. So we are part of the NDIA's Digital Community of Interest, which is a group we meet every couple of months, and we feedback from the market as to what the participants, the providers and the plan managers are needing. And of course, the NDIA are then looking at how they can develop the APIs to meet those needs. Further on our roadmap, so things that we are keen to deliver and of course pushing for to be developed by the NDIA, is the likes of automated exception handling and later again reconciliation. So again, some of the biggest pain points that we've spoken to you about is numbers of exceptions and the time spent on exception handling, and then of course reconciliation of payments. Just to reiterate, this is our core business, is to manage and maintain access to this information. That's what Care Access is all about. That's what we're dedicated to do. Any other questions come in, Shannon?
Yeah, Bill, there's a few coming through, mainly around costs. So I just wanted to briefly speak about that. It all depends on the type of integration that we've got to do, whether you want a full integration at the ACP level, which is our agency care package, the type of API calls that you want to make and have written back into your system, and the amount of participants that you process as well. I think, not to sort of derail your presentation, Bill, but if you can explain the charges around the participants, that'd be great, so everyone can sort of get a better idea, and I'll get back to answering a few more questions.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, so again, depending upon the type of integration, we would speak to you about the costs involved with that in relation to the charges per participant. So depending upon the number of participants you interact with on a monthly basis, that's how we base our charging. But the key to that is, with each participant, you have unlimited transactions. So if you meet with one participant 1 month, then you are charged for that. But the verification plan, lookup, the use of the APIs to create or edit service booking, the use of the APIs to execute a payment request, that's all included in that single charge. So a single charge per participant, we wouldn't consider charging per transaction. That's just too many. Okay, so what's next? What have we got coming up? Well, it's time for your input. Guys, we're really keen to understand more how we can help you. What are the problems that you're facing on a daily basis in order to submit or get the information from the NDIS. So what we'd really like is for any of you that have attended today is to contact us for a system or a process evaluation. That can be done face-to-face. It can be done remotely like this with myself. There is a form that you can fill in on our website to request a demo or just to inquire at yourcareaccess.com.au, or also just drop us a line at info@yourcareaccess.com.au. I'll pop this slide back up at the end so you can see that again. Just to summarize then, so as I mentioned earlier, Care Access, we're about maintaining and delivering access to the NDIA APIs. That's our core purpose in terms of maintaining the level of connection between your existing system and the NDIA data. We don't want there to be any development for you guys to undertake. We'll do a system evaluation, we'll perform an integration. We're using an innovative and scalable solution, so regardless of the size of provider or plan manager that you are, we mentioned it's an affordable solution which is based on the number of participants that you manage. It's cloud-based, easy to use in the sense that we don't want to impact what the end users are seeing or giving them extra tasks, but we want to integrate it within your existing workflow, and that's part of that system or process evaluation. So we understand how you work so as not to interfere with it, to deliver better outcomes. Essentially, we're on a trusted platform, hosted in Australia, so there are no sovereignty issues. And as we mentioned earlier, we have sign off from the Digital Partnership Office of the NDIA as capable and secure to manage that pass-through. Shannon, you've come back to us again, a couple more questions, I think.
Yeah, I got a few more questions here. So they said one of the questions was, do you have a full list of the 27 APIs? What information can be brought back from the NDIS? So the full API list is available on the NDIA website. We can also give you that detail in a one-on-one, which we can arrange with Bill, or we can send you, if you send your details in via the info at your care access address, we can respond directly to you. The information that typically the APIs we're typically doing at the moment provide plan ID, start date, end date, plan ID update, verification of name, date of birth, NDIS number, creation of service booking, amendment of service booking, and that's both at the category level and at the item level. We can also do cancellation of service bookings. We can have notifications that are typically now only available in Proto be pushed through to your actual CRM or your plan management software system directly, so you don't have to log in to get those notifications. We are also able to do single payment requests as well as bulk uploads directly from your system to the API in real time. So that sort of answers that question. Also answers David's question about can bookings be updated through the APIs? Absolutely. We can update those service bookings directly. You can create them, you can cancel them, you can push those dates within the service agreement parameters. So pretty much everything you can imagine you can do with a service booking can be done from within your actual plan management system. What else have we got? There's a couple more questions here around existing CRMs that have proven capability. So currently we've got production versions with Salesforce instances. We also have a couple of customers that are using database type systems. So we can integrate anything from Salesforce, .NET, Azure, MuleSoft, whichever system you have. We have a connector and a proven platform that can connect you to the APIs. I'll hand it back to you, Bill.
Thank you, Shannon. Fantastic. Okay, before we wrap up, Andrew, is there anything else you want to bring in?
Thanks, Bill. No, I just wanted to pick up on Shannon's last comment. So the platform that we use under the covers here has, as a Gartner leader on a global basis, we have lots of different types of connectors out of the box. So I know there's some questions posted around needing to work with current developers. There's another question here around implementing with the need to integrate. So there are a number that already exist. So if you look at the top 250 sort of applications that exist in the world, we'll have it connected to be able to address that for you. As it relates to specific plan management applications, in some instances, we are already working with those plan manager applications. and case management, same. So the demonstration sort of today was just Salesforce. It was very rudimentary, but it was just to give you a view of how quick and easy it would be using us in the background as your service provider to gain access to those APIs. There was another question, Shannon, I don't know if you saw that what if you currently have no participants but wish to set it up in the future? I don't think that's a problem at all. We have a number of customers that are on a growth trajectory, looking to be innovative. It's a relatively new space. So you appreciate there are a number of people that have approached us to say, we want to look like this in the future. Can we work with you to do that? So whoever dropped that question in, feel free to reach out and we'll get that addressed for you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andrew. So all that remains for me to say is a big thank you to everybody for attending today. Thank you, Andrew, for your time. Thanks, Shannon. Thanks, Shashini, for running everything in the background. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of the day. As I mentioned, I will put up the contact information again. Please make contact with us if you've got more questions. We're happy to answer. We're happy to spend time with you on a system or process evaluation. We're here to help.
Okay, just while we're getting a few more questions in, I'll attempt to answer them all. You discussed plan rollovers. How do early plan reviews, how are they dealt with? Should the plan be cut short by the NDIS, are the providers notified? So yes, Christian, they are notified through the API. If you do have to end the plan early, there is a process for that as well, and we can work in with your specific workflow to make sure that the API is integrated to take that that process into account. There was a question around the budget. So as Bill mentioned previously, the budget API for plans is slated for release in August. As soon as that comes online, that's going to be part of our offering, and we'll be able to integrate the available budget left in the plan as an API integration as well. There's a few questions around some proprietary software and plan management software. We can discuss those, guys, if you want to send an email. Obviously, there's a few commercial things that we can't talk about in a live instance, but shoot us an email. We'll talk to you about your specific requirement. And the rest, I think we'll probably just go through and answer Bill as an email response.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. As I mentioned at the start of the presentation, it has been recorded, and we'll send the link out to everybody who's attended. If you didn't attend and you registered for the webinar, you will get the link to this video as well. But just to reiterate, we're here to help you now. Make contact from our website or the info@yourcareaccess.com.au email address, and we'll answer those questions as well in a published document through sharing the video link as well. Okay, again, perfect. Everybody, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for attending this morning. Have a great day. What I will do is I'll ask Shashini just to stop the presentation now. If you've got any more questions, please send those to our info@careaccess. Thanks again for your time, everyone. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.